Hello，客服。
Oh,
Morning, Redok.
thank you for
听没说吗 Hello，
hello.
sorry for get time.
Good evening.
I think we can't hear you, 客服。
Last week, I was adapting our Seastar module with based master head of upstream Seastar branch since the CMake change has finally got merged. And before that, our Seastar module was based upon the work in progress branch from Jesse, and where the CMake changes is by then the CMake changes was not merged yet, so I need to get update our branch once the CMake changes is merged upstream. And also I reviewed the Yingxin's change regarding to the Crimson Messenger. It looks good, and I will ping Casey on this. But I don't think there's I expect there won't be a lot of pushback from him. As we are just moving the gate from Messenger to the connection. There's no fundamental changes actually, and I believe we can even go further by moving the dispatcher by removing the dispatcher from in a socket messenger. As the socket messenger had no idea, could have no idea of the connection dispatcher at all.
Oh, do you mean that the dispatcher will be removed from the messenger?
Yeah. I just comment on your PR.
Okay, I will see. What can I see? Okay.
And that's basically what I am. What I have, and I will try to play around with the Course Code Messenger PR and try to integrate the Moon client and the Kubernetes OSD driver with it in the following week. That's me. How's it going, Tremay?
Cannot hear you.
Oh, sorry, I muted. And Tremay, how's it going? Okay. Jimbo, can you hear me?
No more update. I think renew your PR and give one comments. I think you didn't respond.
Yes.
The other thing
go on.
the other
I
thing
think
asked.
I think your comments
you
does
all
make
first.
sense, and I will update. I think the whole point of mental CC on the Crimson OSD is a placeholder, and we will surely enrich it as we move on. And currently, the for most important thing is to integrate it in with the updated messenger by Yingxin and to set and to prepare it so it can join the cluster. And later on, we will ready the facilities like object store and OSD services, which will provide the underlying storage and the common infrastructure shared by PG shards. And I agree with you on the comments in general. Yes.
And the other question is how to reflect the OSD, import all the cloud code and reflect with the Seastar, and or rewrite.
No, I don't think so. I think we will I envision that we will start from scratch, think out of our box in the philosophy of Seastar and run to completion. And try to reuse what we have. But on the critical path, we will start from scratch for sure.
看有 partner.
Sure. I think we need to discuss case by case. On the critical path, which Riddle is working on, we need to start from scratch. I think out of box and with keep the philosophy of run to completion and share nothing design in mind, instead of try to port existing code path to with Seastar. And on non-critical path, we will try to leverage what we have. And if the time allows, we can port it to redesign it later on. But our time slot is limited, so we need to reuse them as much as possible. But the critical path, we need to rewrite it from scratch. That's my understanding.
This means we can create a branch.
Yeah, but we could, but the things. Oh, actually, we have discussed this when we started the Crimson project, regarding to how we can cooperate on this project. My concern is that we could be. Actually, I think we can. Some of our work in progress could benefit the existing code base, and we can leverage the existing CI. So, and we are working on different directory on the source/Crimson. So it's won't interfere with our current work on non-Seastar world.
Okay. But,
what's your concern regarding to current approach, the program development model?
Because I think the speed is very slow. Because from the inter point, we should as possible as so to get the performance to make the decision to continue.
Performance of development or performance of a Crimson OSD.
Yeah, we want to get a rough performance to show the Seastar benefit and make Intel can continue do this, continue to if no performance, so maybe we don't tend to continue this. So we need make the reflect more speed. But now all code must merge into the upstream. I think this may be. First, we should think the compatible with the no Seastar code, and this make the code will slower.
I see.
And the
I think
other question,
mhm.
and the other
Okay, go on.
question is, we need more people to revenue. So this also slow down the developer.
How about this? We could suggest we could have a dedicated branch in Safe Repo and coordinate on that repo without the and split up a stabilized product into a PR when the design or the code is stabilized, and but the difference of this branch is that we can cooperate on it instead of waiting for the review. Does it make more sense to you?
Yeah. At first, we maybe not think too much, and only make
Mm-hmm.
the code can work.
That would work as an agile approach. But my concern is that long term, if we don't get the design correct, it will undermine our long term goal. But I understand your concern that if we don't get the a good number to prove that the Crimson project is promising, we can hardly attract the people or keep the people around for this project.
Yeah. Now only Red Hat and Intel do this job. Others didn't involve this.
Mm.
I think the key question is it Seastar whether has benefit for NVMe SSD or faster device. So we may need to
Mm-hmm.
speed up this work and so better performance and make many people involved this and
So do you think we need more? We just get the shortcuts in place ASAP instead of setting up the OSD. So we don't need
yeah.
to get the OSD up get a working OSD which is able to join the cluster, and just direct the client to that very OSD, so it can accept the request or write or read the request from that very client and be able to send forward the request to the underlying object storage. I think we can do it for sure for number, but again, I don't think it would help the criminality in long term aside from getting a number which it does not and then the code
But those,
to read the
sorry for
Rico and
interrupting, those numbers will be possible to obtain, but only for reads. if you would like writes will be well a bit unreliable, because without joining the cluster we cannot basically do the replication traffic. It will be comparable if we do write benchmarking without joining the cluster. It can be maybe it can be comparable, but only with OSD running replication on running replicated backend on replication factor 1. Not so reliable, but for it should be fine.
Yeah. For the read, it's comparable, and for write, it's definitely not a apple-to-apple comparison.
Well, just for
Yeah,
write, we will need to implement a lot more. We will need to add much more complexity to start reliable testing, I guess.
yeah. To make a apple to apple compare, we should make all faction into the Seastar OSD as the ground code. For this, I agree with, but my point is we should find a better method to speed up this work. The PR more, I think the PR is taking so long.
So, Kefu, can we just create our working branch? So the patch needn't reviewed, we can merge it to our working branch. And when we test and when we get some result, so maybe some code will be rewrite.
I think it does not matter where we get the code merged if we follow this different model. To be honest, you can even merge the working progress changed. For example, the working progress from the Crimson Messenger from Inxin into your remote repo or your local repo and continue working on it, and have a tangible number. For example, if you could have a working or partially working OSD. My concern is that how will the result of this program model, of the data model, benefit from the end result of Crimson OSD in short term, in mid term or long term. If we just want a number.
Yeah, we should get the result, performance result first. Then we can persuade the manager that it is useful for the staff. Then we can put more resource in it.
Mm-hmm. My point is that it does not matter if we have a branch in safe/safe.
Okay. So we just merge each other's code to our own local branch, and then working on it.
Yes, and we can merge it periodically. If as long as that change that helps with our development. And I will talk to probably we can send a mail to the mailing list to discuss for the program development model, and I have done it before to raise it again to see how we should coordinate on this coordinate on Crimson project, so we don't be slowed down by the review process.
So I think if we keep a sub branch, it is easily for us to do the pull pull and update the others' code.
How would we? Yes, but
And
how would we push the code without interfering with each other?
I think currently we can keep on the sub branch. Then after we get some result, the result is effective. Then we can clean the code and push to the master branch.
I knew the approach, what the approach is for, but my concern is how shall we avoid interfering each other when pushing the changes? If the change is not reviewed or fully discussed.
No,
Yeah, if we just push the buggy code together, and there will be complex issues, maybe.
Yes, that's my concern.
But
how to? I just want to know how to faster the developing work, because our manager always asks me when can we get the result, the performance result, then decided how much resource put into the work.
I understand you guys are under a great deal of pressure from the management team. Probably we can put together the shortcuts. I'll pass faster without adding the boilerplate work to get the OSD joined in and allow the client to send the request right to the OSD. If we can get that done, we can get the number faster.
Okay. So for the next development, so for the OSD, layer, PG layer work, how we do the development, because it's we how we divided the task.
I think we need to have a general design, have a more general design of it before we start the split it down the task.
Okay.
I didn't get a chance to read your mail sent to SafeDevil, but I will do so. But,
it's just referenced the Yingxin and Jianpeng Ceramic just referenced the network. Network used the promise and used the future forward to the promise. So when we do the PG lock, they get the promise future. At that time, the future is not ready, so it returned. And when the PG lock afraid, we use the future forward to promise. So at that time, the promise is linked to a future.
Okay, basically, so you are using future promise to synchronize the different.
Yeah, when the PG lock afraid, the future is ready. So the next callback will be executed. If it's a PG lock not afraid, the future is not ready.
Basically, it's a mutex.
Something like that, I think. But it's not blocked there. It's just a return.
Okay, and
no block.
After a second thought, I don't think the PG that thing is the critical, but it's not a blocker of our minimal read-write path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it works, I think it's. Pardon? Riddles.
Reads can be actually reordered. The issue will pop up when together with implementing writes.
I can't understand. Sorry.
I think what readable means that we can do it we can do the other read, but we surely want to serialize the write.
Exactly.
Serious right.
In other words, we need to guard the rights request with the mutex.
Why the right mutex?
Because we cannot rely on the underlying object storage to the serialization. We need to do it on
Object store has its own mechanism to guarantee the sequence. We needn't care about the object store. Object store has its own method to guarantee the sequence.
Okay.
We only care about the PG lock in the OSD layer is okay.
Riddle, does this address your concern? I think it's fine if we have a grand lock or a serial sequencer in object storage.
Yeah. In Bluster we have we do use sequencer for write. Yep.
Okay. So I think the next step probably is to have a to port the or start from scratch with what the minimal read path by Riddle, and to connect it with the messenger by Yingxin. And to see how we can direct the client to a given OSD without joining the cluster.
So first we can connect the OSD with the messenger. Then I think we can do some messenger test. The only test the messenger performance. I'm not sure if Yingxin's messenger features can be do the test.
We already have some benchmarking for excising messenger already.
From my point, messenger still have some minor issues before testing, and I'm still looking at it.
Oh, okay. So we can go two paths. One group working on the messenger and connect the messenger with the OSD mean function, and then the other path do the other OSD work. How we chain the OSD functions together. Which function should be called from the Seastar?
Yeah, if only test messenger performance, I think we don't need to connect messenger with OSD. Just create two messenger and let them send messages to each other and test the performance.
How we compare with the OSD async messenger? We need to compare the performance between the two kind of messenger.
Because we can connect a Crimson messenger with async messenger.
Okay. Oh, how to say it? We just replaced the POSIX socket, right? We just replaced the socket layer.
What do you mean by replace the socket layer?
No, the async messenger based on the POSIX socket.
Yes.
So you mean we needed to modify the async messenger source code? We just can chain the Crimson messenger with the async messenger, right?
It doesn't mean chain. It just create two messenger process. One is Crimson and one is async, and let them connect and send messages. And
I think it helps with the interoperability of the between async messenger and Crimson messenger, but not help with the benchmarking. I think we can leverage, we can use the tool on the test/msgr/perf_messenger_client and perf_messenger_server. If we can port this tool to Crimson Messenger, we can benchmark them with apple comparison and with some tangible number.
Yes, it's a tool works like the client to control the messenger, how messenger send messages. But what I'm talking about is the test case. So I'm referring to three kind of test case. One is async to async performance. The another is async to Crimson performance, and the third case is Crimson to Crimson performance. And we can get the performance numbers of all the three test cases and see the result.
I think the first two cases are more typical and more presentative because we're not likely to, in the future, we are not likely to port the librvd or librados to Crimson.
But between OSDs, there will be connections of Crimson Messenger and Crimson Messenger. So three cases are all exist. And yeah.
The current async messenger can be tested by only the messenger, right? We needn't OSD startup, only
no,
test
yes. No need to test with OSD. Yeah.
Okay, so
just
we can do the separated testing.
With messenger, yes. Only with messenger.
Okay, so the first week, then our first performance result is just a test of messenger.
Yeah, it's the messenger part performance test, but it's a different story with OSD part of performance test.
Yeah, I know. So how many work left now?
I need to evaluate.
Okay,
yeah.
I see. So if I think if Jinpeng's current work is done, Jinpeng can help you, right? We just quickly make the messenger works.
I think so.
How about Kefu?
I'm all for this work to get the messenger in shape as ASAP, as it's also a blocker, or the how to say, it's the building block of Crimson OSD, and my work is also rely on it.
Okay, so I think if Jinpeng's OSD map cache is finished, or if it is not critical, we can just put the two results on the messenger and quickly make it works and do the test performance test. And then when I come back after the Crimson after the New Year holiday, and I can help you to do the OSD L critical path.
What do you think, Jianpeng?
Jianpeng? Can you help Yingxin working on the messenger?
control API resources.
Jim, are you muted?
Maybe he doesn't hear us. Jianpeng, are you there?
They are in the cubic.
Okay, I can ask him
Yeah,
offline maybe.
You can ask him offline. So I think
Okay.
maybe OSD map is we can put a way for a while. It's just how to use it from the Seastar framework. I think it's not critical.
Yeah, but
I think I can continue on the work of Greg to understand the data structure of OSD. Try to have a high-level design of what kind of services can be shared, which should be shared, and
Okay.
try to have a prototype more like more close to what we will have in long term.
So in the OSD,
fill it with more details.
In the OSD init function, there's some initialization, right? So that work should be done before we start up the Seastar framework, right?
Could you say again? What kind of work should be done before Seastar initialized?
OSD init. In the Ceph OSD, there's some initialization function. That work is executed in the OSD process, not the working thread. So I think that work should be done before we start the Seastar thread, right?
I don't really think so. What you're talking about is OSD init instead of OSD service init, right? I'm currently looking at OSD comma init, in which we start the timer and set up do some sanity checks and read the superblock using object storage. I think we need to do that kind of thing in Seastar.
So in which thread?
Using the reactor of Seastar for sure.
I mean, so if the work is only done in one shard.
Yes. It should be done in one
shard, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter. We do it after the Seastar framework startup. We just do it in one shard is okay, right? Or we do it before we start the Seastar shard thread on all the cores.
We can just forward this task to shard 0.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this kind of work should be done on shard 0.
Yes, I think so. It's pretty much like the config proxy or perf counter, as for example the superblock are shared by all PGs and all shards.
Yes. Okay.
But we need to take a closer look at which part can be sharded and are non static data structure, which and small ones which should be hosted by different shards.
So, Kefu, you mean we need the design work before we continue on the OSD function?
Not necessarily.
Huh?
I think we can do it in parallel.
Oh, okay.
But if two of us we're working on one of us we're working on a very minimal read or write path, and another of us will working on the high level design. We can think as we think up with each other frequently to understand which part will be can be adjusted,
Mm-hmm.
and which part we should do some compromise.
Yeah, I just want to know how to work together and effectively.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay,
I think
so
if you are
no.
very if you really want the number very urgent, probably you can take a look at the Redux shortcut path, read path, to understand how we are going to craft the minimal read path,
Yeah, okay, I see.
and probably can leverage your work in long-term design.
Mm-hmm. I see. So then the current and Yingxi and Jianpeng working at the messenger and try to make the messenger can be tested separately. And then I take a look at the shortcut IO critical path, or which function will be created will be implemented in our Seastar framework. And
Redux. What do you think? I think you're occupied with bufferless decode improvements, performance improvements.
Yep, and that's main pain in the last week. There was corruption data, random, rarely occurring data corruption during scrap. Finally, it turned out, well, the buffer list changes was the primary suspicious. Finally, it turned out we had a bug for years, but they just exposed it. And moreover, it seems we need to decide what to do with the CRC cache removal before Nautilus, because the CRC caching, well, in buffer list we have CRC caching, and because of that we have even a lock side. Well, it's embarrassing, but buffer list it's not lock free. We have a spin lock there just to protect our CRC caches.
Because of CRC cache, we have
yes,
locked in
we
the
have a
buffer
lock
list.
there.
Oh really?
Stage
Oh, okay.
I made a branch without the CRC caching. Unfortunately, the main problem, is not with coding. It's not at the implementation layer. It's at the decision layer.
At what layer,
Because
sorry?
well, I mean, it's not it's not so related to engineering. It's most related to management, because we basically let me provide a link. Let's start from that.
Okay, Rido, aside from buffer list, are you interested in rewriting the read path or write path in Seastar to work to craft out the to carve out the Christmas OSD?
Sure. I made the environment for. I built Crimson OSD and started poking there. Well, and got some questions actually about that. I saw the review of the RFC Crimson OSD. So comments from Chimney, and the first question is related about the sharding of OSD. In current design, in current OSD, the big OSD. I mean, the OSD class has object store inside. We have one object store per OSD class instance. But in Crimson OSD, we decided to share basing on OSD. Isn't that mean that we will get multiple instances of object store?
No, object store is running in the POSIX thread,
Yes,
right?
Alien. That's not a big issue for the intermediary step. I mean, taking a browser or something like that and enclosing it inside the Alien world. But the problem can arise later. If let's say we'll decide to have or something like that. That doesn't require any alien communication. Be a part of Seastar, of the Seastar world.
Yeah, I think
So
you are referring to Seastar, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that we can end with statical division of underlying block devices. That's my primary concern about sharding per OSD.
In my opinion, from dispatcher class, I think it is the same story, and I think if OSD like OS object store interfaces is defined, we can then decide if the underlying like BlueStore, CStore is sharded or not, because currently monitor client is not sharded and OSD is sharded, and they can both work well on the dispatcher interface.
Well, is it doable to have an object store, Seastar based object store implementation that encloses single device without any synchronization or without statical division of the space offered by the device?
Yes, I think that's what the design to split the device into smaller partition or shards. That's the design of the C-store.
Okay, it means okay. So I can assume that
it's more like how the TC model works. We can adjust it using some centralized adjusted balance between between the shards using a centralized space, but each shard has its own local allocator.
Okay, now I see.
Yeah. So supposedly the cross shard communication is rare, so the performance is still good.
Okay.
Even with the centralized allocator.
Okay, got it. First, thanks for the explanation. Second question: am I correct that the app template of Seastar, well, the initialization function of main CC of the Crimson OSD, I am assuming it's just running on single core. It's being executed only once. There is no issues with the Mon client.
Yes,
I think
so.
I think you're correct.
Okay.
The app template is scheduled only on a single core or single shard.
Yes.
Okay. And it looks that the shortcut needs to be put as a part of the dispatcher implementation, well, something like MS Dispatch. Is that correct?
Sorry, I don't follow you.
Yeah.
Could you say again?
Well, at the moment we defined OSD class that is almost empty. It uses the default implementations of the dispatcher interface, and we don't do any bind we don't bind any messenger at the moment.
No.
No.
Until we are in the messen. Oh, sorry. Until we are in the app template. Until we have a Seastar ready.
Okay. Just I'm asking because I would like to start putting the read shortcut wired all together with the Crimson OSD. But in order to do that, I need to have some testing, some possibility to quickly test what's going on. And what, from my current understanding, is that I would need to have Messenger started and servicing the OSD class.
Yes.
Yeah, currently we can't assign OSD to Messenger because OSD is sharded, but Messenger is not sharded. So that's a major problem.
Okay.
So after the Messenger is sharded, we can assign each OSD shard to each Messenger shard. Then it can work properly.
Right. Then the Messenger will be a sharded service, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Cool.
But if you want to test Redac, you can check out the PR with the concurrent implementation.
Could you post the PR in the chat? So
Okay, let me see.
I think it's labeled with crimson.
For connections. Yes.
Okay.
It's the messenger is sharded in this implementation, and it can I think it can working.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I also write the unit test of the concurrent connections, and you can also refer to that.
Well, outside of that, I can see we have not sure about the local management. Well, I tried to run Crimson OSD, and I'm getting segfault in, well, looks like in our config proxy. Is it supposed to be that issue in config proxy?
No, I don't think so. So what exactly the segfault are you facing? Because we do have a unit test for Crimson config proxy in our make check test.
Yep.
Okay.
outside of the Crimson OSD, I pushed some extra commits to the shared LRU branch. Basically, they duplicate key LRU structures. Well, because before that we had 3 copies of key per each LRU entry, and those keys can be pretty costly. We tend to store we tend to use something like GH object T for keys, or even, well, structures strings inside are typical, I will say. Also benchmark.
Take a look at the ASAP.
It's separated branch at the moment. I need to update the PR. However, I made some profiling, and in current OSD I can see, sorry for typoing, in current OSD I can see there is maybe around between 1 and 1.5% of bonus, just from the chef area.
Okay. So, Rito, I will take a look at your segment 4 you are facing. But aside from that, what part you are interested in working on? The
Implementing the dispatcher inside the dispatcher interface inside the OSD class. That's the thing I would prefer to focus on.
class. Okay. So basically, that implies the OSD in general. But
yep.
Okay.
I think I would love to just to have very, very thin Crimson OSD just able to execute its first read. You don't need to join to cluster. You don't need to handle authentication. You can disable suffix. It's not a problem at this stage, I guess. All I would love to see is just handling the first read.
Handling what? First read?
First read operation.
Read operation.
From OSD client.
Okay. Okay, I think I can help with the booting part. If we have no idea how to get the client to talk to a given OSD, because the monitor need to direct the client to the Crimson OSD. How about that? So general idea is to have to let Yingxing and Jianpeng work on the existing Crimson Messenger to get it in shape, and I will try to get it reviewed ASAP and play around with the cross messenger to try to get it merged ASAP, and test it along with the Moon client, and the trimmer will try to figure out how to implement the minimal IO pass, IO rate pass along with the Riddle.
I have one suggestion.
Sure.
So one of our major target is to get pretty performance number from Messenger, right? But what I'm concerned is the buffer list, the implementation of buffer list may impact the performance. So maybe we should investigate more on this one because it maybe have a major impact of messenger performance.
So what do you mean the encode decode overhead of a buffer list, or what specific thing you are concerned? I know there's a problem in the Crimson, the buffer list. But which part is your concern? We can improve it.
I'm not very familiar with the buffer list implementation, but I think all the operations used by Crimson Messenger with the buffer list, we can investigate that. Because one of the major part of Messenger is to deal with message, right? And message is buffer list.
Okay, I think Redo has a point us to the places we are pending the buffers to a buffer list and then send it over to underlying packet and send it over to the POSIX socket. But I think we can working on it in parallel, and I will try to take a look at this area and try to improve it as suggested by Casey over the mailing list.
Just in the matter of buffer list, well, I was taking a look on the Seastar's temporary buffer implementation, and it seems it has comparable basically to not buffer list, but buffer pointer. Buffer list is a bit more complicated. Basically, it's a scatter-gutter list in our current implementation with some sharing facilities. Yet, the temporary buffer isn't so extremely cheap. It's from what I can read from the Seastar source, appears like like some kind of it appears similar to, let's say, STD string, the sharing implementation of STD string, with the main difference being lack of atomical reference counting. Still, reference counting is there. We have a deleter inside the temporary buffer, and it actually does the reference counting, but in an anatomical threat and safety way.
Yes,
that's the main difference. But
temporary buffer also have a chain deleter in it.
Yes. Well, I'm working on buffer in the matter of buffer list. I'm trying to achieve clock behavior that is I'm trying to achieve with buffer list. We have some typical use cases buffer list, like in the append, like in the contiguous appender, like in our encode stuff, and appears to me that in many cases we can have buffer list implementation that doesn't do any atomical reference counting. Can still have the feature inside, but don't pay the price when we actually don't use it. It's a bit different to what is in current master, because even if somebody uses buffer list instance only across a single thread, we still do a lot of atomical reference counting. and that is what the first pull request is trying to fight with. It optimizes a lot of reference counting when you don't actually share the buffer list with others.
Yes, if we are sure that the reference is held by somebody and we can ensure its life cycle, we don't need to pass the smart pointer everywhere. We can just point the reference to it.
Yes, and if we can use this if we can get rid of unnecessary overhead from the buffer list, from the reference counters or something else, we can have better numbers.
Sure.
Yeah.
Still, I am a bit afraid about accidental sharing buffer list. It's pretty easy. It's enough that you have. It's enough you use the copy constructor and a sharing occurs. Still, maybe preparing some kind of derivative, very simple one of buffer list, with just the copy constructor deprecated, just to get a warning during compile. Maybe that's the way to go. Because the moving constructor of buffer list is very cheap. There is absolutely no buffer. There is absolutely no reference counting because of that.
To put it in other way, Redok. So your suggestion is to let the compiler speed up a warning whenever the copy constructor is called. Is that true?
Yes, if the copy constructor isn't called, you don't. The reference counting driven by it won't happen. And I saw in current OSD code that we have a lot of misuse of buffer list. Maybe because the code is just very old, and in many places, people are just forgetting about STD moving the stuff.
So what I need to do is to recheck Crimson Messenger if there are copy constructor called in its logic.
Yes, but you don't need to do that manually. It's enough to ask GCC to do that. It's enough to put something like attribute deprecated on a method you are interested in.
Okay.
In that case, it's on the copy constructor of buffer list. GCC will find all that stuff.
Yeah, it will print out the
warning.
The warnings during compile, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
I think the tangible way is probably to define to deprecate the copy constructor if with Seastar defined. Otherwise, we leave as it is.
Yep, can be do that.
So, what if we need to copy buffer list?
There is a dedicated share method on buffer list.
Okay, share. Okay, I understand.
To make it explicit and difficult to use.
Exactly, like with the Seastar, like with the Seastar's temporary buffer.
Can definitely use this approach. Minimize the effort of overhead of a copy constructor of a buffer list. Okay. I think it's pretty much what I have in today's meeting. Is there anything else?
Oh, maybe next week I'm taking off. Maybe skip the next week's meeting.
So we will talk to you next year, right?
Yes, next year.
Okay, cool. Anything else?
Yes, for messenger part, I think the code should be merged in order, right? And I also have some critical fixes to the current messenger, like this one, this one. Okay, and paste it.
So just fix instead of a refactoring for stateful protocol.
Yes. So for those patches, I think if we want to merge it, we can then split it into smaller pieces. But before that, I think I need to keep large features in one commit to make it more flexible to change.
So the fixes, it does not depend on the refactory or the encapsulation changes. Am I right?
It depends on the remaining part of that PR. And I think I need to rebase the concurrent connection onto this one.
By the remaining part, you mean 25207?
The one you are reviewing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I need to rebase.
I could get it merged very soon.
Okay.
Once you get my comments addressed, that would be quick. Okay, gotcha. Redok, I don't have a question for you. How do you expect to work with the Chunmei on OSD? I think she's also eager working on the minimal IO paths. I think her work will be overlapped with yours. How do you guys want to split your work?
Start poking with minimal read path. We need to have also mechanism for patching in the OSD class. Maybe that's the point where we can divide with the work.
Maybe you don't need to concern it until next year, right?
Probably yes, that's true. Are you going to work on it, Chunmei, in this year? Or we can put on the discussion to next year.
That's a possibility. I'm not taking any PTO on the holidays for the Xmas. We'll be working on that.
Probably we can think up on this by then. If Chunmei, you are, it's not a blocker for you. Or for Redok. Okay. So much for this week, and see you next year, Chunmei, and see you guys next week.
Redok,
Yes?
do you take off for the Christmas and the New Year?
Yeah, we have taking a look on the calendar. 26th is a holiday, but I guess I will try to be here.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a big fan of the Christmas, to be honest.
So, could you update offline the current status for the critical IO path? Just
Yep,
send me an email and I can know the current status.
okay, I can send you email. However, it's there is a pull request with the patches, DNM of course.
And tell me what you want me to do.
Posted the PR. It's on. Sure. It's just at the moment. It's just for the current OSD. However, the structure is pretty readable, I hope, and the part for the Seastar won't differ too much.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Well, I just posted PR with the read shortcut for current OSD.
Okay.
Kifu also posted some pre-prototype for Crimson, and I guess that's the best way to start.
I will read PR first.
Sure.
Is there anything else that we want to discuss? Otherwise, we can call it day today.
From me.
Okay, cool. Okay, again, see you next year, and see you guys hopefully next week.
Happy New Year.
I will.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
See you next week.
See you next
Bye-bye.
week. See you next year.
Bye
Ciao.
bye.